The morning sky over New Horizon looked perfect. Dr. Yuna Kim stood on the observation deck of the research station, watching the twin suns rise above the fields. The wheat was growing well this season. 2 million people called this planet home now. They had built schools, hospitals, and parks. Children played in the streets. It was peaceful. Yuna checked her scanner again. Something was wrong. Strange readings were coming from deep space. She frowned and adjusted the settings. The readings got stronger. Whatever was coming, it was big. Very big. She called Commander Minho Park on the military ship orbiting above the planet. Minho was a good officer, calm and smart. He listened to her report carefully. His face went serious on the video screen. "How big?" he asked. 50 ships. Maybe more. "They are huge, Commander. Much bigger than anything we have." Minho's ship, the Indomitable, was the best humanity had. But it was alone out here. He called his captain Daeho Choi. Captain Choi had fought in wars before. He knew what to do in danger. But even he looked worried when he saw the scanner data. "Get Ambassador Lee on the line," Captain Choi ordered. "We need to talk to them first." Ambassador Jiwon Lee was Earth's best diplomat. She believed all problems could be solved with words. She prepared a message in many languages. She added mathematical equations that any smart species would understand. The message was simple: we come in peace. We want to be friends. Let us talk. The alien fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Their ships were massive, like floating cities made of dark metal. They had weapons everywhere, but Ambassador Lee smiled. She sent her message. The aliens responded quickly. Too quickly. The message came in perfect human language. That should have been the first warning. The voice was cold and flat. "You are on Voran Imperium territory. You are primitive organisms. You have no right to be here. You will leave immediately or be removed." Ambassador Lee tried again. She explained that humans did not know this was anyone's territory. She offered to negotiate. She asked for time to evacuate peacefully if they must leave. She promised humanity would respect their claim. The Vorans did not reply with words. The first energy beam hit the northern city. 300,000 people died in an instant. The city simply vanished, replaced by a crater of melted glass. Yuna screamed. On the Indomitable, Minho watched in horror. Captain Choi shouted orders, but they were too far away. The Indomitable could not reach New Horizon in time. The Voran fleet moved into orbit. They worked with terrible efficiency. Beam after beam struck the surface. Cities burned. Evacuation ships tried to launch, but the Vorans destroyed them before they could escape. The aliens showed no mercy. They killed everyone. Men, women, children. It did not matter. Ambassador Lee collapsed in her chair. She kept sending messages, begging them to stop. The Vorans did not answer. They just kept firing. Minho stood on the bridge, his hands shaking. He wanted to fight. He wanted to save them. But Captain Choi held him back. "We cannot win," the captain said quietly. "One ship against 50. We would die and change nothing, and we have to try." Minho shouted. "No, we have to survive. We have to warn Earth. If we die here, humanity dies not knowing what is coming." The bombardment lasted 6 hours. When it ended, New Horizon was dead. The beautiful farms were gone. The cities were craters. 2,300,000 people, all dead. The Voran fleet scanned the planet one final time, confirming no life remained. Then they left, jumping back into faster-than-light travel as easily as they had arrived. The Indomitable hung in space, silent. The crew stared at their screens, unable to believe what they had witnessed. Ambassador Lee was crying. Captain Choi's face was hard as stone. But it was Minho who finally spoke. He looked at the dead planet below. Yuna had been down there. She had called him just this morning, excited about the wheat harvest. Now she was gone. Everyone was gone. "Take us home, Captain," Minho said quietly. His voice was calm, but everyone heard the promise in it. "We need to tell Earth what happened here. We need to prepare." "Prepare for what?" a young officer asked. Minho turned to face him. His eyes were cold with a fury that frightened even Captain Choi. "War," Minho said. "We prepare for war, and we make sure the Vorans regret what they did here today. Every single one of them." The Indomitable turned away from New Horizon and jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, the planet burned. The slaughter had begun, and humanity would never forget. 3 months passed. Earth's government building was crowded with worried leaders. Everyone had seen the video from New Horizon. The images of burning cities haunted their dreams. Admiral Hyejin Song stood at the front of the room, her uniform perfect, her face serious. "The Voran fleet is moving toward our space," she reported. "They have sent us a message." The room fell silent. Everyone remembered what happened when the Voran sent messages. Counselor Junho Nam, leader of the Peace Party, leaned forward. He was an old man who hated violence. He believed all wars were mistakes. "What do they want?" he asked. Admiral Song played the recording. The same cold voice spoke. "Humans have violated Voran territory. You will abandon all colonies outside your home system. You will pay us resources as punishment. You will accept Voran observers to watch your activities. You will not build any more warships. You have 90 days to obey. If you refuse, you will be destroyed like the others." Like the others. Those words made everyone think. What others? How many species had the Vorans destroyed? Professor Taehyung Kang stood up. He was a historian who studied wars. He had been researching the Vorans since New Horizon fell. His findings were not good. "I found records of 14 other civilizations," Professor Kang said. "The Vorans destroyed all of them. First, they demanded surrender. The species obeyed, hoping for peace. Then the Vorans slowly took more and more. Finally, they killed everyone anyway. This is their pattern. They never let anyone survive." Counselor Nam looked sick. "But if we resist, they will destroy Earth. We have 47 ships. They have thousands. It would be suicide." "It would be suicide to surrender too," Commander Minho Park said from the back of the room. He had not slept well since New Horizon. The faces of the dead haunted him. "Professor Kang is right. They will kill us no matter what we do. At least if we fight, we die with honor." Ambassador Ji-Won Lee sat quietly in her chair. She had not spoken much since New Horizon. She blamed herself. She thought her peace message had failed. Now she spoke softly. "I tried to make peace. I believed words could solve anything. I was wrong. The Vorans do not want peace. They want slaves, then corpses. Commander Park is right. We should accept the terms to buy time, but prepare to fight." The government argued for hours. Some wanted to fight immediately. Others wanted to run away, scatter humanity across space where the Vorans could not find them. But most agreed with Counselor Nam. They voted to accept the Voran terms. Humanity would abandon the colonies. They would pay the tribute. They would try to survive. Admiral Song saluted and left the room. She did not argue with the vote. But Captain Choi and Commander Park followed her to her private office. She locked the door and looked at them both. "I will not abandon our people to slavery and death," she said quietly. "The government voted for surrender. I will obey. We will evacuate the colonies as ordered. But while we evacuate, we will also prepare." "Prepare how?" Minho asked. Admiral Song pulled up a secret file on her computer. "Before Dr. Yuna Kim died on New Horizon, she sent us data. Scans of the Voran ships. Detailed scans. She was a hero. She gave us what we need to hurt them." Captain Choi studied the scans. His eyes widened. "Their shields have a weakness. Their power systems can be overloaded. This is incredible. Dr. Kim died getting us this information," Minho said quietly. "We cannot waste it." "We will not," Admiral Song promised. "I am starting a secret project. We will build new weapons. We will train new soldiers. We will turn every factory on Earth into a war machine." The government voted for peace. They can have their peace for 90 days. After that, the Vorans will learn what happens when you slaughter humans. "The government will stop you if they find out," Captain Choi warned. "Then we work in secret. We prepare in silence, and when the time comes, we strike with everything we have." Admiral Song looked at both men. "I need to know you are with me. This could be treason. We could be executed if we fail." Minho did not hesitate. "I watched 2 million people die. I made a promise. I am with you." Captain Choi nodded slowly. "I fought in the Mars Rebellion. I have seen what happens when good people do nothing. Count me in." Admiral Song smiled for the first time since New Horizon. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter who had found her prey. "Good, then we begin tonight. We have 90 days to prepare for war. The Vorans think we are weak. They think we will obey. They think we will die quietly like the 14 others." She looked at the image of New Horizon burning on her screen. They are going to learn they made a terrible mistake. Outside the office, Earth continued its normal life. People went to work. Children went to school. The government prepared to send a message accepting the Voran terms. But in secret places, in hidden factories, the real work had begun. Humanity was preparing for the fight of its existence. The Vorons had asked for peace. They would get war instead. 8 months after New Horizon died, Earth looked different. Every factory worked day and night. The sky above the cities glowed orange from the furnaces. Engineer Minji Huang had not slept properly in weeks. She stood in the secret shipyard, looking up at her creation. The ship was beautiful and terrible. They called it the Reaper. It was smaller than Voron ships, but faster and meaner. Black metal covered every surface. Weapons bristled from its hull. Minji had built it using Dr. Yuna Kim's final gift, the data from New Horizon. "Will it work?" Admiral Song asked, standing beside her. "The phase disruptors will cut through Voron shields like paper," Minji explained. "The plasma torpedoes target their power cores. One good hit and their whole ship goes dark. We also added stealth coating. They will not see us until we are right on top of them." "How many have we built?" 200, with more coming every day. We are building them faster now. Everyone wants to help." Minji smiled sadly. "My brother died on New Horizon. Every person working here lost someone. We build these ships with anger and love." Admiral Song nodded. She understood. The entire human race was united now, rich and poor, old and young. Everyone worked for the same goal: make the Vorons pay. Meanwhile, Commander Minho Park was on a dangerous mission. He flew a small ship disguised as a cargo vessel. It looked harmless and slow. The Vorons barely noticed it. That was the plan. Park guided his ship toward a Voron outpost. His heart beat fast, but his hands were steady. He had volunteered for this mission. Someone had to get close to the enemy. Someone had to plant the spy equipment. Approaching the station, he whispered to his crew. There were only 5 of them. All volunteers, all willing to die. The Voron outpost was massive. Ships came and went constantly. Park's vessel drifted closer, pretending to be debris. Voron sensors scanned them but found nothing suspicious. Good. Minji's stealth technology worked. They attached to the station's hull like a barnacle. Park and his team put on spacesuits and climbed outside. They planted listening devices in the station's communication arrays. The devices were tiny, almost invisible, but they would send everything the Vorons said back to Earth. Then Park heard something through the Voron communication system. He froze. His team looked at him in concern. "What is wrong?" his second officer asked. "They are planning to attack Earth in 3 months. They do not care that we accepted their terms. They always plan to kill us all." Professor Kang was right. They finished their work quickly and returned to the ship. Park pushed the engines hard, getting away from the outpost as fast as he dared. When they were safe, he sent an emergency message to Admiral Song. Back on Earth, Admiral Song received the message. She called an emergency meeting with Captain Choi, Professor Kang, and the secret military leaders. She played Park's recording. The Voron voices were casual, almost bored. They discussed the extermination of humanity like it was a boring job. "We should have killed them faster," one Voron officer complained. "These humans are taking too long to die." "Orders are orders. We wait 3 months, then we burn their planet. Clean and efficient." The room fell silent after the recording ended. Then someone started laughing. It was Captain Choi. Everyone stared at him. "What is funny?" Admiral Song asked. "They think we are helpless. They think we are already dead. They have no idea what is coming." Captain Choi's smile was cold. "We have been training pilots in the new tactics. Ramming runs, close-range attacks, suicide strikes if necessary. We will do whatever it takes." Professor Kang added his thoughts. "I studied every brutal war in human history. I took the worst tactics from the worst battles. Nothing is forbidden. No move is too cruel if it saves our species. We need to tell the people," Admiral Song decided. "They deserve to know the truth. The Vorons planned to kill us all along. Surrender meant nothing." The next day, the truth was broadcast across Earth. The recordings played on every screen. People heard the Voron voices discussing their extermination. The reaction was immediate and total. Children as young as 12 volunteered to work in factories. Old people who could barely walk demanded jobs. Scientists worked until they collapsed from exhaustion, then got up and worked more. Nobody questioned the war anymore. Nobody asked for peace. The Vorans had made sure of that. Lance Corporal Seojin Yoon led the first team of Void Marines. These were special soldiers trained for boarding enemy ships. They practiced every day, learning to fight in zero gravity, learning to breach alien hulls, learning to show no mercy. Remember what they did, Yoon told his troops. Remember New Horizon. Remember the 2 million. We are not just soldiers. We are the vengeance of the dead. Finally, the day came. 200 Reaper-class warships stood ready in orbit. Their crews were volunteers. Every single person knew they might not come home. Admiral Song walked among the ships speaking to the captains. We are not starting this war, she told them. The Vorans started it when they killed New Horizon. We are finishing it. Make every shot count. Make every death matter. And make them regret ever hearing the word human. The fleet launched together, their engines burning bright against the darkness. They jumped to faster than light speed, heading toward the first Voran target. Earth watched them go. The waiting was over. The war had truly begun. And humanity would show the galaxy what happens when you push peaceful people too far. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. 200 Reaper-class warships appeared at the edge of the Voran outpost like ghosts from a nightmare. Commander Minho Park stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the enemy base grow larger on the screen. The Voran commander at Outpost Theta 7 noticed the human ships immediately. He laughed. His crew laughed with him. 30 Voran warships protected this base. They were each twice the size of the human vessels. The Vorans had destroyed New Horizon with 50 ships. This would be even easier. The Voran commander sent a mocking message. Foolish insects. You dare to attack us? We will crush you like we crushed your pathetic colony. Your deaths will be quick. Be grateful. Commander Park did not reply with words. He gave a signal. The human fleet split into attack groups, moving with practiced precision. The Vorans raised their shields and prepared their weapons. They expected an easy victory. They were wrong. The first wave of human ships fired their phase disruptors. The beams looked different from normal weapons. They shimmered like water in sunlight. When they hit the Voran shields, the shields simply vanished. The Vorans stared in confusion. Their shields had never failed before. The second wave fired plasma torpedoes. These weapons were designed specifically to hurt Voran ships. They found the power cores with perfect accuracy. Voran vessels exploded from the inside, their own energy destroying them. In 30 seconds, 5 Voran ships were gone. The Voran commander stopped laughing. He shouted orders, trying to organize a defense. But the humans were too fast. They moved like wolves hunting prey, attacking from every direction at once. Stealth bombers appeared from nowhere. The Vorans had not even seen them coming. These small ships dropped their bombs and disappeared again. More Voran vessels exploded. The outpost defense stations tried to fire, but human ships destroyed them before they could aim. 47 minutes after the battle started, it ended. Every Voran warship was destroyed. The outpost itself was damaged but intact. Commander Park had ordered his fleet to be precise. They killed soldiers but left the station standing. Lance Corporal Seojin Yoon led his Void Marines onto the station. They moved through the corridors quickly and professionally. Voran soldiers tried to fight back, but the Marines were ready. They had trained for this. Within an hour, the station was captured. Yoon found the Voran commander in his office trying to destroy computer files. Yoon stopped him. You are coming with us, Yoon said in the Voran language. Intelligence officer Nari Jong had taught all the Marines to speak basic Voran. Kill me, the Voran commander demanded. I will not become your prisoner. You do not get to choose, Yoon replied coldly. You did not let the people of New Horizon choose. You killed them all without mercy. Now you will tell us everything you know. Intelligence officer Nari Jung questioned the prisoners. She was brilliant at her job. She knew Voran culture and psychology. She knew how to make them talk. The information they gave was valuable. Positions of other outposts, locations of fleet bases, weaknesses in Voran defenses. But one piece of information shocked everyone. Officer Jung played a recording for Commander Park. The Vorans have been doing this for 600 years, she explained. 14 civilizations destroyed. Hundreds of billions dead. They find a species, demand surrender, then kill them anyway. They enjoy it. They see it as their right. Park felt his anger grow colder and harder. This was not just about New Horizon anymore. This was about justice for countless innocent species. News of the human victory spread through Voran space like fire. For the first time in 600 years, the Imperium had lost a battle. Voran High Command was stunned. How could primitive humans defeat their superior forces? They sent their elite Third Fleet to crush the humans. This fleet was commanded by their best admiral. It had never lost a battle. 300 ships, all veterans of countless wars. The Vorans were confident. The humans had won once through luck. It would not happen again, but humanity did not wait. Fleet Commander Boram Shin led attacks on 12 more outposts over the next 3 months. Each attack was more devastating than the last. The humans fought with calculated brutality. They showed no mercy to Voran military forces, but they carefully evacuated Voran civilians to prison camps instead of killing them. "We are not like them," Admiral Song had ordered. "We kill soldiers who made the choice to fight. We spare civilians who had no choice. This is what makes us better. This is what makes us human." The human fleet documented everything. Every battle was recorded. Every Voran war crime was saved as evidence. Officer Zhang made sure other civilizations could see what the Vorans had done. The truth needed to spread across the galaxy. Finally, the Voran elite Third Fleet arrived at Outpost Theta 7. The outpost was now a human fortress. The Reapers had brought weapons and defenses. What was once a Voran base was now a trap. The Voran admiral looked at his screens. 300 of his best ships against maybe 50 human vessels at the outpost. He smiled. This would be easy. Then Admiral Song sent a message. Her face appeared on every Voran screen. She looked calm and cold. "You came to teach us our place in the galaxy," she said. "You showed us that the strong destroy the weak. You taught us that mercy is weakness. You demonstrated that peace is for fools." She paused. "Thank you for the lesson. Now let us show you how well we learned it." Behind the Voran fleet, space itself seemed to tear open. 200 human warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. The Vorans were trapped, humans in front, humans behind. The trap had closed. The Voran admiral realized his mistake too late. He had walked into an ambush. He tried to order a retreat, but there was nowhere to run. The human fleet attacked from both sides with everything they had. The battle for Theta 7 had begun, and the Vorans were finally learning what it meant to face humanity's wrath. 18 months after New Horizon fell, the war had changed completely. The Voran Empire was losing. Human forces had liberated 15 star systems. But more importantly, other species were rising up against their Voran masters. Ambassador Hannah Beck stood in the conference room with representatives from 4 alien species. These beings had suffered under Voran rule for decades. Now they saw hope. Humanity was winning. Maybe they could win their freedom too. "We want to join your fight," one alien leader said through a translator. His species looked like large insects with blue shells. "The Vorans enslaved my people for 40 years. We want revenge." "Not revenge," Ambassador Bayek corrected gently. "Justice. We fight for justice." "There is a difference. What is the difference?" Another alien asked. This one looked like a living crystal glowing softly in the dim light. "Revenge is about anger. Justice is about making things right. We will defeat the Voran military. We will punish war criminals. But we will not slaughter civilians. We will not become the monsters we fight," the aliens agreed. They formed the Coalition of Free Worlds. 23 species joined, contributing ships, soldiers, and resources. Humanity led the military effort, but every species had a voice in planning. This was not a human empire. This was a true alliance. Meanwhile, the Voran government was falling apart. Different factions blamed each other for the defeats. 3 Voran admirals had already defected to humanity, bringing valuable intelligence. They revealed the locations of secret bases and the plans for ultimate weapons. The worst news came from these defectors. The Vorans had built doomsday weapons on conquered worlds. If the Vorans lost a planet, they would activate these weapons and kill everyone on the surface. They would rather destroy their own slaves than let them be free. General Kyung-ho received this information with horror. "They have doomsday weapons on 5 worlds we are about to liberate. Billions of people will die if we do not stop them. Then we stop them," Admiral Song said firmly. "Launch immediate ground assaults on all 5 worlds simultaneously. We raced the Vorans to the weapon sites. General O organized the largest ground campaign in human history. 5 planets, 5 armies, all attacking at the same time. The troops knew they were in a desperate race. If they were too slow, billions would die. On 3 worlds, the coalition forces arrived in time. They fought through heavy Voran defenses and reached the weapon sites. General O himself led the assault on the main control facility. His soldiers breached the doors just as Voran technicians were activating the Doomsday device. "Stop!" O shouted, his weapon aimed at the Voran officer. "Step away from the controls." The Voran officer smiled coldly. "Too late, human. The countdown has begun. In 10 minutes, everyone on this planet dies. You cannot stop it. Then you die too," O said. But he was already calling for help. Engineers rushed in, desperately trying to understand the alien technology. They had only minutes to save 1 billion lives. Engineer Minji Huang was on another planet, but she talked the ground team through the process over the radio. "Cut the red power line." "No, the other red line." "Yes, that one. Now reroute the energy flow." "Quickly." On 3 worlds, they succeeded. The weapons were disabled with seconds to spare. The populations were saved. But on 2 worlds, the coalition forces arrived too late. Commander Park watched helplessly as those 2 planets burned. The Doomsday weapons activated before the ground forces could reach them. 4 billion beings died in nuclear fire. The Vorans had murdered their own slaves rather than lose them. The galaxy watched in horror. Even species that had been neutral now turned against the Vorans. The evidence was clear. The Vorans were not just conquerors. They were genocidal monsters. Ambassador Bayek broadcast the recordings of the Voran crimes to every corner of known space. "This is what the Voran Imperium truly is," she said. "They enslave species, then kill them when liberation comes. They must be stopped, not for revenge, for justice. For the billions already dead and the billions more who will die if we fail." More species joined the coalition. More Voran officers defected. The Empire was crumbling from within and without. Their territory shrank every day as world after world was liberated. Commander Park led a raid on the Voran Military Academy. They captured hundreds of future officers and seized complete military databases. The intelligence revealed everything: supply routes, communication codes, and most importantly, the location of the Voran Emperor himself. Admiral Song called a meeting of all coalition leaders. She displayed a star map. One system glowed red at the center: the Voran homeworld. Their emperor commands from there. His personal fleet protects it. "If we want to end this war, we need to strike at the heart." "That is suicide," one alien commander protested. "They have thousands of ships guarding their homeworld." "Yes," Captain Choi agreed. "That is why we do not lay siege. We strike fast and hard. A decapitation strike. We jump directly into their home system with everything we have. We kill their emperor and destroy their high command. Without leadership, the empire will collapse completely." "It is incredibly dangerous," Admiral Song admitted. "We will take heavy losses. But it will end the war quickly. No more planets burned. No more billions dead. We finish this now." The coalition leaders voted. The decision was unanimous. They would attack the Voran homeworld. Over the next month, the largest fleet in galactic history assembled. 3,000 ships from 23 species. Human Reapers formed the vanguard, the most dangerous position, but humans insisted on leading the charge. "We started this fight," Admiral Song told the other coalition leaders. "The Vorans killed our colony first. It is fitting that we lead the final assault." Families across coalition space watched the broadcasts. This battle would decide everything. Victory meant freedom and justice. Defeat meant the Vorans would recover and the slaughter would continue. Admiral Song stood on the bridge of her flagship. Around her, 3,000 ships waited for the signal. She thought of New Horizon. She thought of the 4 billion who died when the Vorans activated their doomsday weapons. She thought of 14 extinct civilizations who had no one left to remember them. "All ships," she broadcast to the entire fleet. "This is it. Everything we have fought for comes down to this moment. Remember why we fight. Remember the innocent dead. And show the galaxy that evil does not get to win simply because it is strong." She gave the order. 3,000 ships jumped to faster than light speed simultaneously. They emerged at the Voran homeworld together. The sight that greeted them made even veteran soldiers feel fear. 5,000 Voran warships surrounded the planet. The Emperor had prepared a trap. The final battle had begun. Space around the Voran homeworld exploded with weapons fire. 3,000 coalition ships faced 5,000 Voron defenders. Both sides knew this battle would decide the war. There would be no retreat, no surrender. Only victory or death. Commander Minho Park's ship took a direct hit in the first minute of battle. The explosion tore through the hull. Alarms screamed. His crew shouted damage reports. Park looked at his screens and knew the truth. His ship was dying. "Evacuate the ship," he ordered calmly. "Get to the escape pods. All of you, now." "What about you, Commander?" his second officer asked. Park looked at the tactical display. The Voron Emperor's flagship was visible on the screen. It was huge, protected by hundreds of smaller ships. But Park's dying vessel still had engines. Still had momentum. "I am staying," Park said. "Someone needs to steer. Now go." "That is an order." His crew hesitated. Then they obeyed. They abandoned ship, launching in escape pods toward friendly vessels. Park sealed the bridge doors behind them. He was alone now. Just him and his dying ship. He thought of Dr. Yuna Kim. She had died on New Horizon, but her final act had given humanity the knowledge to fight back. Now Park would honor her sacrifice. He activated the manual controls and aimed his ship directly at the Emperor's flagship. "For New Horizon," he whispered. "For the 2,000,000. For humanity." He pushed the engines to maximum. The ship accelerated toward the enemy flagship like a missile. Voron ships tried to intercept him, but he was too fast. Too determined. Captain Daeho Choi watched from his own ship. He saw what Park was doing. He understood immediately. A ramming attack. A suicide strike. And it would work. Park's ship would destroy the Emperor's flagship. But Choi also saw something else. 50 other human ships were damaged. They could not fight effectively anymore, but they could still fly. They could still ram. "All damaged vessels," Choi broadcast. "Evacuate your crews. Set ramming courses. We end this battle now, whatever the cost." 50 ships responded. Their crews evacuated to rescue vessels. The pilots stayed behind just long enough to set the courses, then they too escaped. The empty ships, guided by their final commands, accelerated toward the largest Voron vessels. But one ship still had its pilot. Commander Park refused to abandon his vessel. He wanted to see this through. He wanted to look the Emperor in the eye, even if only for a moment. What Park did not know was that his crew had sabotaged his navigation system before they left. They loved their commander too much to let him die. At the last moment, his console sparked, emergency systems activated. An escape pod launched automatically, carrying Park away from his ship against his will. Park cursed his crew even as his pod tumbled away. Then he saw his ship complete its mission. It struck the Emperor's flagship dead center. The explosion was massive, tearing the flagship in half. The Voron Emperor died instantly along with his entire high command. 50 more ramming ships found their targets. 50 Voron capital ships exploded. The Voron formation broke apart. Without their Emperor, without their commanders, the Voron fleet lost coordination. Ships tried to flee. Others fought on mindlessly. Some attempted to surrender. Admiral Song seized the moment. "All coalition forces advance. Show no mercy to those who fight. Accept surrender from those who yield immediately." The battle raged for 19 more hours. Space became a graveyard. Ships from both sides floated dead and broken. The coalition took terrible losses. Almost 1,000 ships destroyed. Tens of thousands of brave soldiers dead. But the Vorons lost more. Their fleet was shattered. Every ship was either destroyed, captured, or fleeing. The homeworld's orbital defenses fell one by one. Finally, the last Voron military vessel surrendered. Admiral Song stood on her damaged bridge. Her uniform was torn. Blood stained her face from a minor wound. But she was alive. They had won. "General O," she broadcast. "You are clear to land ground forces. Secure the government buildings. Find whoever is in charge now." General Kyung-ho. O led his Marines to the surface. They expected heavy fighting. But the Voron military was broken. The few soldiers they encountered surrendered immediately. The civilians stayed in their homes terrified. O found the civilian government in a bunker beneath the capital. They were not military officers. They were bureaucrats and administrators. They came out with their hands raised. "Please," one of them begged. "We surrender. We will give you anything you want. Just do not kill us." O looked at them with disgust. But he did not shoot. "You are under arrest for crimes against sentient beings. You will stand trial." "We did not want this war," another Voron official claimed. "The military controlled everything. We opposed their genocidal policies, but we were powerless to stop them. Tell it to the judges, O replied coldly. Back in orbit, Admiral Song received reports from across the system. The battle was won. The Voran military had formally surrendered. But now came the hard question. What should they do with the Vorans? The Coalition Council met in emergency session. Representatives from all member species gathered. Everyone wanted to speak. Everyone had an opinion. Kill them all, the insect-like alien demanded. They destroyed 14 civilizations. They enslaved my people for 40 years. They deserve death. Agreed, said the crystal being. Total extermination. It is the only way to ensure they never threaten anyone again. More voices joined the call for genocide. Species after species voted for complete destruction of the Voran race. They had evidence. They had justification. The Vorans had done worse to others, but Ambassador Hannah Bayek stood and asked for silence. She presented evidence that the Voran civilian population had been oppressed by their own military. Dissidents had been executed for opposing the wars. The people had no real choice. If we exterminate civilians, we become exactly what we fought against, Beck argued. We become monsters. Is that what we want? The debate raged. The galaxy watched. This decision would define what kind of civilization the coalition would be. Would they choose justice or revenge? Would they spare their defeated enemy or become the next conquerors? Finally, Admiral Song called for order. As Supreme Military Commander, the final decision was hers. Everyone fell silent. They waited for her judgment. The woman who had led humanity through its darkest war would now decide the fate of billions of Vorans. Song looked at the memorial image of New Horizon on her screen. 2 million names. 2 million dead. She thought of the 4 billion who died when doomsday weapons activated. She thought of 14 extinct civilizations. The weight of all those deaths pressed down on her. Then she thought of Commander Park, who had tried to sacrifice himself but whose crew saved him because they loved him. She thought of Dr. Kim, who spent her final moments sending data to help humanity. She thought of all the brave souls who fought not for conquest but for justice. Admiral Song made her decision. Admiral Hejin Song stood before the Coalition Council. Every species watched her. Every being in the galaxy waited for her words. She had won the war. Now she would decide the peace. The Voran military will face justice, she announced. Every officer above the rank of captain will be tried for war crimes. Those found guilty of participating in genocide will be executed. The rest will face long prison sentences. This is not negotiable. The crowd stirred. This was expected. Everyone agreed the military must pay. But what about the rest? The Voran civilian population will be spared, Song continued. They will be allowed to form a new government under coalition supervision. They will pay reparations to all victim species. They will preserve monuments to their victims and teach their children about their crimes. But they will live. Angry voices erupted. The insect-like alien stood, his shell clicking with rage. This is weakness. They deserve death. Sit down, Admiral Song said quietly. Her voice was soft, but everyone heard the steel in it. I watched 2 million of my people die. I have earned the right to make this decision. We will not exterminate civilians. We will not become the monsters we defeated. Captain Daeho Choi stood to support her. My family died on New Horizon. My wife, my daughter. They would not want their deaths to justify more killing. We fought for justice, not revenge. Professor Tae-Hyung Kang added his voice. History shows that cycles of revenge create eternal wars. Someone must choose to break the cycle. Let it be us. The vote was close. Many species wanted total extermination. But humanity's example swayed enough votes. The decision stood. The Vorans would face justice, not genocide. The trials began 3 months later. Thousands of Voran officers stood accused. The evidence against them was overwhelming. Videos of the New Horizon massacre. Records of 14 extinct civilizations. Testimony from survivors. The Voran officers could not deny their crimes. Some Vorans tried to claim they were following orders. The judges rejected this defense. You had a choice, Intelligence Officer Nari Jong testified. We found records. of Voran officers who refused to participate in genocide. Your military executed them. They chose honor over obedience, you chose murder over conscience, now you face the consequences. 5,000 Voran military officers were convicted of genocide. They were executed publicly. The galaxy watched as justice was served. Some felt it was not enough. Others felt it was too harsh. But no one could say the coalition had not tried to be fair. The Voran Empire was dissolved. Their territory was reduced to 4 systems. They had to give up all military weapons. Coalition observers monitored every part of their government. The Vorans would never threaten anyone again. Most importantly, the Vorans had to remember. Every city built a monument to the species they had destroyed. Every school taught about the genocide. Voran children learned the names of the 14 extinct civilizations. They learned about New Horizon. They learned what their empire had done. 5 years passed. The coalition of free worlds became a peaceful federation. Former enemies worked together. Trade flourished. Science advanced. The galaxy was healing. Commander Minho Park, who survived his suicide run thanks to his loyal crew, now served as ambassador to the Voran Republic. His job was difficult. Many Vorans resented him. Many humans questioned why he would work with their former enemy. But Park believed in the work. He met with young Vorans who were building a better society. They rejected their parents' empire. They wanted peace. Park helped them, remembering that someone had to break the cycle of hate. New Horizon was being rebuilt, not as a colony, but as a memorial world. Families of the dead came to see the monuments. The names of all 2 million victims were carved in stone that would last forever. Gardens grew where cities had burned. It was beautiful and sad. Admiral Song retired from military service. She spent her days at New Horizon, making sure future generations remembered. Visitors from across the galaxy came to pay respects. They thanked her for her leadership. They thanked humanity for choosing justice over revenge. Ambassador Hannah Bayek founded the Institute for Galactic Peace. Young beings from every species came to learn diplomacy and conflict resolution. The Institute's motto was simple: remember the past, build a better future. Captain Choi commanded the Coalition Defense Fleet. His job was to make sure peace lasted. The fleet was powerful but defensive. They protected, they did not conquer. They intervened when needed, but always with restraint. General Kyung-ho Oh oversaw the decommissioning of weapons of mass destruction. Every doomsday device was destroyed. Every planet killer was dismantled. The galaxy would never again face extinction weapons. Engineer Minji Huang turned her talents to peaceful work. She designed new ships for exploration, not war. She built stations that brought species together instead of tearing them apart. On the 10th anniversary of the Battle of Voran Prime, the galaxy gathered at New Horizon for a ceremony. Representatives from all coalition species attended. Even the Voran Republic sent delegates. A young Voran student approached the memorial wall. Her name was Yuna, named after the human doctor who had died sending vital information. This young Voran carried a speech written by her entire generation. She read it in a clear voice, though tears ran down her face. We are the children of the Empire. We did not commit these crimes, but we carry the responsibility to remember them. We apologize to every species our ancestors destroyed. We promise to be better. We promise to never forget. We promise to spend our lives making amends for what was done in our name. The crowd was silent. Some cried, some nodded. Forgiveness would take time, but this was a start. Admiral Song stood to speak last. She was old now, her hair white, her body tired, but her voice was still strong. She looked at the wall of names. 2 million dead. She had avenged them, but more importantly, she had broken the cycle. 10 years ago, the Vorans demanded we submit or die, Song said. We chose to fight. We won that war not because we were stronger, but because we fought for something real. We fought for justice, we fought for the innocent dead. We fought for a galaxy where genocide would never be tolerated again. She paused, looking at the diverse crowd. Humans, Vorans, insects, crystals, and dozens of other species all standing together. The Vorans begged for peace only after they lost, Song continued. But we remembered the slaughter. We remembered New Horizon. We remembered the 14 extinct civilizations. We remembered 4 billion souls murdered by doomsday weapons. We could have answered with more slaughter. We could have become the monsters they were. She looked directly at the young Voran student who had just spoken. But we chose differently. We chose justice over revenge. We chose to end the cycle instead of continuing it. This is what makes us worthy of the stars. Not our weapons, not our victories, but our mercy after victory. The crowd stood and applauded. The sound echoed across the memorial gardens. Admiral Song smiled, thinking of all those who had not lived to see this day. Dr. Kim would have been proud. The 2 million would rest easier knowing their deaths had led to this peace. As the ceremony ended and beings from across the galaxy mingled peacefully, one truth became clear. The Vorans had tried to teach humanity its place through violence. Instead, humanity had taught the galaxy a different lesson. That strength without mercy is tyranny. That victory without justice is hollow. And that true civilization is measured not by how you treat your friends, but by how you treat your defeated enemies. The galactic rulers had pleaded for peace when they lost. But humanity remembered the slaughter. They remembered, they judged, and they chose mercy. That choice defined them. That choice saved the galaxy. And that choice ensured that the name human would forever mean not conqueror, but liberator.